Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Tony Sirianni podcast. I am very pleased to have the founders of STS, Shore to Summit, with us today. That's Scott Brown, the CEO. Wave hello, Scott. Well, your name is there. They'll know who you are. And also Ben Spiker, who's the COO. Good to see you guys.
Good to see
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning. So let's talk a little bit about the firm. I mean, Ben's in Bethesda, which is, as I mentioned,
Actually, Annapolis.
where my wife is from. What's that?
Let me correct you. We're in Annapolis.
Oh, Annapolis. Oh, I thought you were in Bethesda. Okay. All right. Well,
We're about to open an office in Bethesda.
that's why I thought. Well, anyway, Bethesda is where my wife is from. So everybody in Maryland is from Bethesda, as far as I'm concerned. Makes it easier for me. And then we have somebody else who's far, far away out west. How did that happen?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Good question. So, Ben and I have actually been partners for over 25 years. We met in Annapolis, Maryland, when I was running a hybrid PD RIA, and we were both young men. So we've worked together for a long time. And in 2010, after being together for about 11 years, I had an opportunity to move out west and take over the Bozeman Merrill Lynch office. At the time, Ben and I had been at Merrill Lynch for a number of years in the Annapolis office. We had a long conversation with our families and the two of us about our business, and we felt that it was a great opportunity to expand our practice. And for me personally, to get closer to my in-laws, my wife's parents, who were in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. At the time, I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old son. And it was an opportune time to move the family and take advantage of moving out west and expanding our business. So that's really what began the expansion of Shore to Summit Wealth Management. And it gave Ben and I an opportunity to work on our communication skills, work on our ability to run a business 3,000 miles apart.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and obviously Ben's on the shore side of it. You're on the summit side of it, so that's kind of fun. Ben, 20 something years in partnership, then you guys decided that you could do this on your own. And I mean, a lot of people think that, right? And they have a lot of people have, and your experience is very interesting because you've been doing this a long time. And I think you also know what not to do. Like, sort of, you've made the mistakes already in terms of going independent. So just talk a little bit about that. Like, how did that conversation come up between the two?
Yeah. No, and I think part of it does go to the longevity of our partnership, quite frankly. Scott and I having that ability to communicate, kind of foresee what each other are thinking before it even happens.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, the sense of confidence and trust in the partnership as well. At the end of the day, though, what we decided when we left Merrill Lynch in 2017 to start Shore to Summit Wealth Management was, we didn't need the infrastructure, the oversight of the mother Merrill, so to speak, or the larger entity to help guide our business decision making. And quite frankly, after launching Shore to Summit and going independent, we've grown exponentially as a result of that. It really kind of unleashed the beast, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's kind of exciting. The other piece of that, Scott, is that you guys learned, kind of along the way with all this experience, these what to do, what not to do, as we mentioned. But one thing you wrote something about, marketing and marketing budgets. That's not really something you think so much about when you're in a wirehouse. You're dependent, right? They're going to figure it out. They're going to have a golf tournament to sponsor or something, and people don't recognize that when they go on their own, they have to do that, and they also may not recognize the costs associated with doing that if you really want to grow. I mean, Merrill Lynch is got the PGA Tour that they're sponsoring, and you've got to do something to sort of get your name out there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we recognized is that we were true entrepreneurs throughout our career, and not all wealth management advisors are.
I agree.
And as you make the move to independence, obviously you have to treat your wealth management practice like a business, and marketing is a very important integral part of that business plan. And I think, as Ben and I have traveled the country and met with many advisors over the years, and in particular the last few years as we've expanded our presence, many folks don't really put enough time into marketing, don't treat it like a business plan. And so, if you have this target of growth, say 10% a year, how are you going to put together a plan to actually achieve that goal? What kind of events are you going to do? What kind of budget do you have? Are you going to have a digital online presence? And then, what are you going to do to execute every month, every quarter, every year to achieve not only those shorter term growth goals, but those longer term growth goals? So that budget has to align with activity and vice versa. And that is a really important part of a marketing plan and budget.
Most guys are just, slapping up a website, right? And that's marketing. And they expect it to come, and I'm gonna work with my existing clients. I get referrals. And, we all know how that works. Really, if you get 2 referrals a year, you're happy. You think you're getting a lot of referrals. So, the actual business isn't growing very much, So this is well beyond what the average guy does, correct, Ben?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it kind of carries forward whether you're doing it, you're focused on organic growth or inorganic growth.
Right.
One way or the other, you're taking that budget, that marketing effort, and you're pushing it in these directions to try to grow the entity. And I think that's really kind of what led to the leg up for Short of Summit Wealth Management, as we realized that this was our mission and our focus.
And it's actually more money than advisors think. Oh, I'm going to throw a couple grand at it. I'm going to do this. And that's not what it is. It's got to be a percentage of what the firm earns.
Yeah. There's no
Right.
doubt. At the end of the day, depending on the effort, we've dedicated anywhere from 5 to 10% of net profit towards our marketing budget. In some cases, and there's even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, more. And I think that would be a surprise. And then, so, that also brings up another issue. So you move from the wirehouse, which a lot of people think about or want to do. And then you recognize you got to run it like a business. I think the marketing is a good example of what it's like to run a business. And that 5 to 10% number should make guys' eyes open that's really what you have to do in order to get known. But that brings up, we talked about organic and inorganic growth, and it brings up, financing the firm, equity, how, because that's a big part of what folks look at today when they look to transition to firms, right? You want to know, am I going to be a partner? Is the equity held? How did you guys come up with, those decisions? You want to hit that first, Scott?
Yeah, I think when we launched Short of Summit, our vision was to build a wealth management partnership so that we could, reach out to like-minded, best-in-class advisors that in most cases we had very long-standing, multiple decade relationships with from our experiences on the independent side at Smith Barney and at Merrill Lynch. And so, in order to grow wisely and attract those best-in-class advisors, we have to incentivize them to not only become independent and think like an independent-minded advisor and a business owner along with us and help us grow this enterprise, because Ben and I can't grow, Short of Summit by ourselves. We need partners that are willing to roll up their sleeves, invest time and money in this business, but in return for that effort, they need to be rewarded some form of equity or profit. So we have always had a profit-sharing aspect to our partnership model. We talk about COC around Short of Summit, which is the compensation you've earned, the ownership that you deserve, and the control that you want. So we try to maximize the cash payout on your wealth management practice. We want you to feel that you own your clients because you do, and that you have an ownership interest in our practice through equity alignment. And that you have some control over your future. And that's why the partnership aspect is extremely important to us. And so it began with a profit sharing solution, and it has evolved into an equity alignment opportunity. And, if you want to expand upon that a bit, I think.
Yeah, and then Ben also, hit on the fact that the company is, you have to be well financed to be able to do all this. You have to be well financed in order to do equity. You have to be well financed because equity represents opportunity too for the advisors for a succession or retirement, or there are a lot of things that are, you need liquidity in order to do some of these things.
Absolutely, Tony. Being well capitalized is key. There's no doubt about it. For the first several years of the evolution of Short of Summit, the financing of our growth really fell squarely on Scott and I, through personal loans, just really getting our legs under us, getting things growing. But We recently did partner with an equity partnership, Merchant Wealth Partners. We're very excited for that partnership. They provide both an equity incentive that we're able to tie our ship, so to speak, our boats together here internally at Shorta Summit, along with Merchant. But it also, very importantly, provides us lines of credit. They provide us access to liquidity. We can provide these liquidity events to our advisors that want to retire, that want to have an opportunity to acquire a business. For mergers and acquisitions, the expertise that's inherent in this firm at this point is pretty much astounding. I'd take the profit sharing component one step further. I wanted to address is that one of the key parts of that profit sharing component is incentivizing the recruiting. Okay. One of the things that we do with that profit sharing is we try to reward those people who are bringing the talent to the firm. And that's been a very important part of our growth story at Shorta Summit Wealth Management.
Well, it's nice when you have everybody, rowing the same way on the boat. Things tend to go, a little bit better. But just to be clear, so you're still you brought in an equity partner, but you guys are still in control of the firm.
100%. Yeah, it is a minority stake owner equity partnership. And the beauty about this partnership is that these guys really recognize the value that Shorta Summit brings to the table. They're looking to partner with us and participate in our growth. It's not really the other way around, so to speak, although it is a mutually beneficial relationship. At the end of the day, though, they're incentivized. Their incentive is to help us grow, and
Yeah.
that's really what we're working towards at this point.
Well aligned. And Scott, they're there for succession. I mean, succession is just a big issue, these days with the age of our, your friends too, right? These are the guys in the industry, and they're all, we're all trying to find out what's the next step. And succession involves not only, having capital strength and experience, like you said, but also sometimes you can market your way out of this thing. How do you get younger people involved? Where are you finding them? That's a real challenge.
It is a real challenge. I think, probably the two hottest commodities in wealth management are the next generation advisors and really talented client associates, administrators.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So they
I
are,
used to say my running joke was the best job you can have is to fail out of the Merrill Lynch training program because that made you were suddenly very hot. You knew how to sell. You had your licenses. You were good to go.
yeah, you were a built-in hybrid advisor administrator all in one, very
Yeah.
valuable commodity for sure. Yeah, no, that is a challenge, Tony. It continues to be a challenge. We have conversations with experienced advisors around the country, and we ask very simple questions. Who are the hot young talent, in your office that we should be introduced to? And if you were thinking about joining our team, who would you want to bring with you from your existing office? And are, some of those folks, those next gen advisors? And frankly, through conversations like that around the country, we've been introduced to young professionals that are hungry, that are intelligent, that are licensed, that are just looking for an opportunity. And Tony, as you know, when we started, cold calling still worked. Knocking on doors still worked. It's a totally different game now with cell phones and caller ID and no call lists and how difficult and expensive seminars are. And so growing a wealth management practice today as a young professional, I personally believe is much more challenging than it was 30 years ago. And so by giving a young next generation advisor an opportunity and a clear career path to success by coming in as a junior, knowing that there's likely to not only be partnership opportunities, but succession plan opportunities, we've been able to attract some very talented young professionals, and it's something we continue to search for literally on a weekly basis. If somebody's got a young person that they think is dynamite, we want to talk to them.
Well, this is where a partnership culture and equity just continues to pay dividends, right? Because now you got something to offer a young person. Well, at least they could see it on a path. Like I get it now. This is, I'm going to own something versus, I mean, how many other jobs in the world do you have where that's the case? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think one of the best things that we ever did was put together a compensation model to help groom these young advisors to that partnership level till the opportunity to become an owner really did present itself, because it gives you several years of really developing nurturing that talent, making sure it's the right, they're doing things the right way, because there's so many pitfalls in this business that if you're not training them hands-on and allowing them to grow with the firm, they're not gonna, they can wander off in their own direction.
Well, I mean, it's that also speaks to this is the couple times that you guys have said this, the willingness to invest in the business. Not only when the two of you funded it from yourselves, but to invest in marketing, the 10% or maybe 15%, right? It ends up being equity and that's a form of investment, in people. And then, in the young next gen advisors, I think that speaks to culture.
It does. One of the things that we focus on at Shorta Summit, we refer to as the enjoy the ride culture, which when Ben and I were younger, it was a work hard, play hard mentality. We loved our careers, but we also loved our lifestyle and our family and our hobbies and our interests. And, that resonates throughout our organization. It's something we speak to our clients about. As you know, clients don't save money just to say they have a lot of money. Normally, they're loving, caring households, and they're saving money to take care of their families, to be able to have an opportunity to pursue their passions, the philanthropic and community interests that they may have that they want to support. So there's a lot of moving parts, and it's not just your work and your wealth that defines you. And so we refer to that as enjoying the ride of life. All of that encompasses your life. And so it resonates with our clients and the conversations we have with them about their wealth, but it also resonates with our associates and our partners, because we're here to support each other. We're a partnership. We want our associates to have a tremendous quality of life. We want our partners to be able to pursue a tremendous quality of life, while at the same time growing a successful wealth management practice.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, Ben, look like you want to say.
Yeah, to add on to that, I mean, I think really as a partnership, and that's the key to everything at Shorta Summit, is as a partnership, the two other key components of our culture is really transparency and optionality. I mean, if you're operating on a partnership model, you have to be transparent to your partners. You have to be able to articulate where the money's going, what we are doing to add value to your business. Optionality, we're not looking to partner with any podunk advisor out there, quite frankly. I mean, we're looking to partner with good quality advisors that have a clean business, that have a growth model in mind. And I'm not going to step in their way. I want to be there to augment it. So there's two very key components of our culture, I think, optionality and transparency as well.
Yeah, that actually speaks volumes, right, of the firm. So where's the firm going to go next? I'd like to hear from each of you on that. What's next, and you could even talk about what's next in our business in general, and kind of how you see yourselves fitting in there. Go ahead, Scott, you start off.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're probably in the second inning of our growth model. And, I think where we're headed next is to, number one, first and foremost, make sure we stay focused on our clients and our existing advisors and partner with them to ensure that they are able to meet their individual growth targets. Listen, we have some lifestyle advisors on our team, but most of our advisors are growth advisors. They really want to grow. So we want to bolt on the support and services around them so they can grow. So first and foremost, we want to focus on the core group and continue to grow successfully as a partnership. But second, we are growing inorganically, and we are having fruitful conversations with very successful practitioners around the country. And so in this calendar year, 2025, we'll probably open 5 to 7-ish additional offices. Bethesda, Maryland, Chesterfield, Missouri, probably some in the Pac Northwest, probably some in the Mid-Atlantic. And so where we go next is really to continue to execute on our organic and inorganic models. And as we find like-minded advisors that we think share our values and that want to be part of the growth story of Shorta Summit, want the ability to have a profit-sharing partnership as well as equity alignment, for the rest of their career and to finish well, we're going to have those conversations. And through our pro forma and economic modeling, if it makes sense for them to join Shorta Summit, we're going to invest in opening up those offices if that's necessary, building out the infrastructure and supporting those businesses in locations around the country. So where we go next is, let's get to the 7th inning stretch and we'll have another conversation.
So Ben, what do you think? I mean, this is pretty exciting, right? I know you guys got a full pipeline, and
Yeah.
you're well financed. You're
Mhm.
sitting in kind of a sweet spot too in terms of the rest of the industry, culturally and all that. So, what are you
Yeah,
seeing?
I think at this point, being an independent broker dealer, our next phase of aside from the inorganic growth that we're focused on right now, but the evolution of Short of Summit, we foresee somewhere down the line, perhaps being able to offer some sort of a hybrid platform where we have a hybrid RAA IBD solution. Again, this comes back to the optionality story
Yeah,
that we want to provide. I don't, there is no one best solution out there. And I think for the future growth of Short of Summit, inherently having that RIA solution is going to be necessary down the road.
yeah,
So I think that's probably as everything falls in line, that will be the next step evolutionary for our firm. We want to be able to offer family office solutions that are more robust than we can do right now. We want to be able to offer a variety of optionality across the board that RAA solutions can allow. That being part of an IBD, quite frankly, we're somewhat limited, but that doesn't mean that the solutions are phenomenal. Being part of a large global bank as well.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. You guys have the lending capability. We didn't even touch on that, but you got a fair amount of that you can do, right? Just sort of the best in class.
Well, and that's our equity partners at Merchant. They refer to it as kind of like it could be one of the best of both worlds, right? I mean, you got the independence of being able to make your own decision, run your business the way you see fit, but also have the resources, the depth and breadth of resources of a global bank. And there's not a lot of independent broker dealers there actually that I know of that can offer that kind of a solution at this point.
And Tony, I would just share, that our belief, and I know you share the same belief, the industry is heading towards independence, and it has been for some time, but it really seems like it's snowballing currently. I think roughly 6 in 10 advisors that are leaving wirehouses are now finding a home
Yeah.
on the independent side, whether it's an IBD or an RIA or a hybrid. And in particular, the more successful, higher producing advisors are landing in the independent space, and they're starting to understand not only the economics, but the lifestyle and household benefits of owning your business, owning your clients, having that asset on your balance sheet, leveraging that asset to be able to borrow and expand and grow your business. These things are all unique. We find them exciting. It's a refreshing change from working in a W-2 environment because we now have control over the growth of the enterprise and the business. And I think that, that is the trend in the industry very clearly.
No question about it. Well, look, believe it or not, that's been, been over 20 minutes. So appreciate you guys being here. That's a high note. So let's end on a high note like that. Appreciate what you're doing. Like I said, we'll talk again and we look forward to hearing from you guys. And certainly we're going to hear about the successes of your pipeline coming up. So look forward to that.
Thank you so
Thanks so
much,
much,
Tony.
Tony. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Take care.